Yeah. So, tato Manojavitvam Vikarana Bhav Pradhana Jayascha. Tato is referring to what? Tato means from that. From what? From the earlier mastery over the Indriyas. So, from the mastery over the Indriyas, what will happen? Three things will happen. What are those three things? Manojavitvam, Vikarana Bhava, Pradhana Jayascha. उससे मनोजवित्वम विकर्ण भाव और प्रधान जय होते हैं. If you look at English translation, thence comes power of rapid movement as of the mind, action of organs independent of the body, and mastery over pradhana, the primordial cause. So these three siddhis will come as a result of mastery over. Now you see, we are functioning at a very low level in terms of understanding, in terms of perceptions, in terms of capacities. Our mind has got very limited capacity. Our senses have got very limited capacity. So it will become very difficult for us to even conceive in our mind theoretically and intellectually as to what the sutra is talking about. It is talking about something fantastic, something very great, something very superior than we are able capable of knowing. So now you see, we function at a level where our instruments are not perfect. The eyes, the ears, the nose, all those senses, all the organs, even our mind, they are not really very perfect. They are suffering from severe limitation. And this severe limitation, because of that, the experience get limited. We know, but we know very little. We experience very little. So it is difficult to conceive of that stage where the yogi has acquired a power where his body can assume the speed of mind. So he can function in a manner where his body becomes so light that he can take his body anywhere at the speed of mind, because the greatest speed is of the mind. Even we talk about the speed of sound, we talk about the speed of light, but the mind speed is much more superior. So it says that Manojavitvam is the best possible speed of movement of body, which is the best movement of mind, same as mind, the body can function. That's what it says. So again, something very fantastic, unimaginable, even inconceivable, very difficult to really understand, but this is what is the claim. Vikarana Bhava is what? Vikarana Bhava is action of organs independent of the body at will. Wherever yogi wants to reach, he can as if reach there and hear what he wants to hear, see what he wants to see, touch what he wants to touch. Earlier we saw one of the Siddhi Anima, where the ability to touch the moon, that was stated in the Vyas Bhashya. So that kind of ability is acquired. Now you see, Manojavitvam, when we are talking about this Manojavitvam idea, we have to understand that so far human beings have known that the speed of the mind is the greatest, because sitting here we can just in a second, in a fraction of a second, we can reach anywhere we want to reach. But the limitation is that we have to have that experience of that place or knowledge of that place. Then we can immediately, our mind can immediately reach. But in case of yogi, that is not the limitation. So wherever he wishes, he can reach in an instant. That will be the speed which he can acquire. And there are recorded cases where person have been reaching certain places, although they were supposed to be at some far end of the earth, and they are found at some place. So these kind of instances are recorded, and we know about such kind of writings. So sometimes something similar is being talked about here. And Vikarana Bhava is, we saw in the earlier Sutra 43, that it is possible for the chitta to exist outside the body. That means the limitation of the body, the limitation imposed by the body is not there on the chitta. So anywhere chitta can function, and it can make use of the Indriyas. not only make use of the Indriyas, the mind acquires the capacity of creating Indriyas. It can create senses to be used. So that kind of capacity is being talked about. Now here, why this Siddhi, why this sutra is important? Because the action part of yogi is getting over here. He has reached the ultimate of activity he can do. Beyond this, there is no action required because he has reached the highest level of. When we talk about yogis and sadhus, sadhana is an important word. In yoga, they say sadhana, yog sadhana, yog ki sadhana. So that endeavor which is there in the sadhana, that finally finds an end in this siddhi. Because after that, after this, yogi is not required to do any sadhana. He is not required to do anything. He has reached the final goal of his activity. Now there is no activity which is required on the part of you. That is what these siddhis are all about. So third siddhi is Pradhana Jaya. Now those who have been studying Yoga Sutra since long, what is Pradhana? Pradhana is the name of the Prakriti. Prakriti in its mool swarup, Prakriti in the form of three gunas, which are in equilibrium. When the gunas are in equilibrium, that state is known as Prakriti. And that state is also known as Pradhana. So as if the yogi is able to acquire mastery over the Prakriti itself on the Pradhana, the combination of three gunas. And mastery means that he can manipulate it, he can change it. We have seen that earlier also we have discussed some of these ideas. So these three siddhis, when we are talking about this Pradhana Jaya, Pradhana means Prakriti and Vikriti. The original Prakriti and all the Vikritis or all the modifications of Prakriti which are there, they all are mastered by yogi. That is what the claim is, or that is what the suggestion is given in this sutra. So a little difficult to understand sutra because these siddhi we cannot, our minds cannot conceive, our mind cannot really understand. And these siddhis have been talked about in yogic literature, in certain prayers also, in stotras also. So this Pradhana Jaya, that is the ultimate, siddhi, where the actions now are not needed. Yogi doesn't require to do anything. He has reached the ultimate. It is a state like moksha or nirvana. That kind of state has been. Now no action is required. One has to just be. That is what is suggested. Now, as I was reading, I was reminded of any such kind of examples which are there in the writings. I came across this. There's a very famous stotra, Ram Raksha. Some of you might have heard. Some of you may not be knowing. It's a very big stotra. Almost 37, 38 paragraphs, big paragraphs are there. So if you recite it, it will take nearly 10, 15 minutes if you are reciting properly. And if you are going according to, very, very systematic way, then it will take little longer. But and mentally one is chanting, then within 5 minutes also it is over. Now there is one particular para in the Ramraksha which reads, Manojayam Marutulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanaryuttham Mukhyam Sri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapad. Now this is the shloka of Ramraksha which is describing this particular sutra in a way. So Manojayam Marutulya Vegam. Now this sutra, this shloka, although it is Ramraksha, but this shloka is talking about Hanuman. It's talking about Maruti, Bajrangbali. So his vega or his speed is also like Manojay, like mine. That is and there is a tremendous amount of force when he's, and we know that in Ramayana there are instances where how Hanumana was able to travel great distances. Now, even if we geographically presume that Ramayana took place or the war between Ravana and Rama took place in Lanka, and when during the war, when Lakshman was hurt and he was lying unconscious in coma. Then I think it was Sukesh or some Vaidya who, or the you know doctor of Ramana himself, who suggested that Lakshman is not dead. If a particular kind of medicine is brought, he can be still survive. He can still survive. And but that medicine is available at a great distance in mountains. So the work was assigned to Hanuman. Now you see, the war has ended in the evening, and Lakshman is lying unconscious. And then doctor is suggesting that this kind of jadi or this kind of medicine will be required. So who can reach such a great distance and bring that medicine, and it has to be done within that very night, because next day what will happen? That is how, at least the implication, when we read the Ramayana, that is how it appears. That if the medicine doesn't reach on time, then Lakshman may even die. Now that is the implication there. So now they ask Hanuman, and he says, okay, I'll get it. And he goes, and he's able to travel that distance within no time. And he's not able to identify the medicine which is suggested, because there are 5 similar kind of medicines. So what he does, he lifts the entire mountain, and then he brings the mountain there. So all that happens within a very short time. Now all that is possible, and all that is not possible unless he has that kind of speed. So that kind of speed is being talked about. If we just try to imagine, that is the kind of speed they are talking about. And then even when they are searching for Sita, nobody is willing to go nobody is able to cross the ocean. So the companions of Hanuman, they remind him, they tell him that you have got great strength, you can fly, you have got tremendous strength. And then Hanuman remembers that, yeah, I'm very powerful, I can do this. And then instantly he just starts flying, and he goes to Lanka to search for Sita. So this is an instance which is there in the mythology, which is there in Ramayana, which is not only mythology, but according to Hindus, it is a history. So that instance came into mind. So that's why I just share. So one who can move everywhere with the speed of light, one who has the force of air, one who has mastered his sense organs, one who has supreme intelligence, one who is the leader of the Vanaras, in such ambassador of Rama, I take refuge. So that is the meaning of this shloka which I read. Manojayam marutulya vegam jitendriyam buddhimatam varishtam vatatmajam vanaryuttham mukyam shriramadutam sharanam prapaddi. So I take refuge in Hanumanam. That is what is suggested. Now you see, this siddhi is of such a kind. I have tried to explain it to you, but then I would like to read a little passage from doctor's writing, what he has to say about this particular sutra. So I'll just read it to you. Here we are discussing the siddhis that are controlling the senses, the sense objects, and the viewer, the knower. Now, one is able to go above the senses and is able to function independently of them. So also, one transcends the mind and is able to go beyond the laws. Laws means the scientific laws or the positive science laws, which are restricting, which are, in a way telling us that these are the limitations. So one is transcending them. Attaining perfection in these areas makes the individual a superior being. These kind of siddhis are called Madhu Pratika. See, 4 kinds of siddhis are there. Out of that, one category is of Madhu Pratika. We will not venture into that because that is not needed. So there are 4 kinds of siddhis, 4 categories of siddhis are talked about. Out of that, one is known as Madhu Pratika, which is related to this sutra. So these kind of siddhis are called Madhu Prakriti, Madhu Pratika. It is as if one conquers the limitation of Prakriti and is the master of everything related to the material world. Manojavitvam means reaching the body to an unusual state. One can physically reach any place in the speed of the mind Vikarana bhava means the capacity to experience sensory stimuli even though one is not present. Example, one can see an object without the use of the eye. Pradhana Jaya means overcoming the cause and effect relationship. The highest control over senses at a distance and the ability to transcend the law of nature all leads to the conquest of matter. So here, doctor has commented that that must clarify what is being talked about. Now, all this, when we are talking about, we have to understand there is a very sound principle working behind it. As I was telling you in the beginning of the discussion, we as human beings are functioning at a very limited capacity mode, and this necessity of functioning at this lower mode or restricted mode where we are not capable, where we are all the time disturbed, we are not able to face situations, we are not able to understand things. All this is there because of the limitations imposed on us. According to yoga, according to Sankhya, or even according to Tantra, according to Shaiva system, we as we are, we have got that divine element in all of us. We have a divine nature. And when we talk about that divine nature, if we have that divine nature, it means that we also have the divine capacities. But then why those divine capacities are not there? Why we are not feeling that we are divine? Why we are not feeling that we have this kind of divinity in us? It is because of the certain factors, and those factors are our major factors are our karmas. Karmas have put restriction on us. Our desires, our vasanas have put restriction on us. So it reminds of the Sutra 23 of chapter 1. The four major factors which separate divinity from the ordinary individual is klesha, karma, vipak, ashay. These are the four factors. So whenever we are thinking of ourselves, we are thinking of ourselves as limited beings. Why? Because that has been our experience since our childhood. We had tremendous desires, and then we wanted to fulfill those desires. But at every juncture of life, we find that some restriction comes and it prevents us from fulfilling our desires. And from where these restrictions are coming? These restrictions are coming from these four factors: klesha, karma, vipak, ashay. Because we have the kleshas. Now you see, if we become free from any kind of emotional charge, mind has got tremendous capacity of knowledge. Both Sankhya, Yoga, Tantra, it believes. Yes. They use the technical word Vibhu. Vibhu means what? All pervading, all knowing. Mind has that capacity that it can pervade anything, it can know anything. But then it gets restricted because of the kleshas. We have desires, and because of those desires, now you see, what are these kleshas? Avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, abhinivesh. So we have fears, lots of fears, lot of restrictions. Tamas is overpowering our minds. Abhinivesh is the most tamasic kind of klesha. It is wanting us to just hold on to where we are, what we are. We are not ready to budge from that. So that's why we are always afraid of any kind of change. We are afraid of trying anything new. We are afraid of anything new appearing in our life. It makes us very tense because we are happy with where we are. That is what is tamas. So the fears are there, and this is the answer why there is a universal fear for change. Hardly there will be any individual in the world, in the universe, who's not afraid of change, because change brings about uncertainty. And this uncertainty we are always afraid of. That's why we are never allowing our mind to grow in stature, in capacity for knowledge, in capacity for experiencing. We want our mind to be restricted to certain areas which are of our related to our desires. If the mind ventures into something else, then we don't want that to happen. So we bring our mind back. So kleshas is a major factor which restricts our capacity for knowledge. If the kleshas were not there, then we will be expanding our knowledge, we will be expanding our capacity to extend where we can acquire supernormal capacities. But because of kleshas, we are not able to do that. And look at history, look at the world. Those people who have been able to become slightly free from the kleshas, they have risen to great heights. They have become the leaders of the human race. And on this entire earth, it is not restricted to only India or a particular country. This is the fact related to any part of the world where human beings are living. Whenever a person has tried to come out of these kleshas and he has overcome the kleshas, he has risen to a great height and he has become a leader of the human race. This is a fact which we can think about. Klesha karma. Karma is again, our ability to do action is also limited. We can function in a certain manner. The sense organs which we have got, they have got limitations. The action capacity for action is also limited. But then often we wonder how some people are able to achieve so much. How they are able to achieve so much in their lifetime. We can only dream of such achievements. Some people are able to. There are people who have achieved these kind of great feats. Like the other day, we were talking about this man who just, broke down the entire mountain to make a pathway. The movie had also come. Maji, I think his name was Maji. I think he was in Bihar. So he just he just started working, and it was a superhuman kind of effort, and he was able to do certain things which even lot big group cannot achieve. That single-handedly he achieved that. Like that, so many instances are there. So there are instances where we know that the limitations which we think we are suffering from, they are only artificial. If we can work on them and if we can really free ourselves from the klesha and karma, then our capacities can increase to a great extent. Then there is a vipak. What is vipak? Vipak is the consequences of karma. Whatever experiences we are going through right now in our life, that is because of our karma. Whatever we have done in past, accordingly we have taken birth, accordingly our bodies are, according to our senses are. Now yogi is working on all these areas, so to a great extent he is able to free himself from these karma effects. And as a result, he can acquire these higher capacities. That is what is at stake. And finally, the vasanas, the desires. Our desires are always limiting us. And we have very trivial kind of desires, very mundane kind of desires, small kind of desires. So when we have small kind of desires, our actions are small, our thinking is small, our knowledge is small. So we go on getting restricted because of these factors. And if we look at the entire scheme of yoga, then what is the ultimate aim of yoga? To become free from the kleshas. Klesha, karma, vipaka, ashay. All four things have to be overcome. So essentially what the statement is, or what is the meaning of what all I'm saying is, if we are practicing yoga and if we are practicing yoga correctly, then soon you will notice that at certain level changes are taking place. And what will be that area where the changes are taking place? There could be several areas of change. One would be the body. Maybe it is related to the health, ability to deal with the body problems, the aches and pains, and the health issues, overcoming the diseases. This will be at the physical level. At the mental level, much better emotional control. If we are, somewhere we'll have to become aware. At what point we started? When we started practicing yoga, at what point we started? And if we have been correctly practicing yoga, I am sure that we all will notice changes in these areas of life. At physical level, there will be changes. At emotional level also, there will be changes. A yogi who's practicing yoga correctly, he is able to relate to every person correctly. He has got right kind of emotions. He is not subjected to negative emotions like anger, hatred, jealousy, all that which restricts and makes one small. We are not able to soar at great height because these emotions bring us down. We are capable of so much love. We are capable of so much friendliness. We are capable of so much help. But we are not able to perform or do that because we have restricted ourselves. We have got tremendous capacity, but we don't realize that we have that capacity. So when we are practicing yoga, maybe we get an inkling, we may get a glimpse that, okay, yeah, this is happening. We are able to relate better, we are able to connect better, we have got better control over the emotions. So all these are signs that somewhere the restrictions are being removed or they are being weakened. Kleshas are also weakened. We also find that in terms of knowledge, when we talk in terms of knowledge, yogi is able to acquire superior knowledge. So he just have to. I had given you example earlier. We have shared about it. One example would be that in terms of knowledge, something very practical. I had given an example of my office colleague who was additional commissioner and whom I had taken to meet Dr. Jayadev. And after meeting Dr. Jayadev on Saturday, I did not meet him, but after Saturday, when office started, I went to office on Monday. Immediately, as he was as if waiting for me. He had already reached office and he called me immediately. And then he said, have tea with me. And then I went and sat with him. And he told me that, this person with whom you asked me to meet, what is his name? I said, Dr. Jaydev. He said, he appears to be a superhuman being. And why he is a superhuman being? Because he said, he told me about something which only I know. Nobody else knows about it. Nobody else knows about it. Only I know. It is my problem. So when I said, what happened exactly? He said, nothing. Regular consultation took place. All the Priyam is there. Priyam is there in the Samatvam. Priyam, you will not remember that person. I had asked you to make him see.
I remember he was from the excise.
Yeah, he was additional commissioner from excise. So he said that after all the process was over, consultation was done. Finally, they took me to this old gentleman, and I sat in front of him. And he described Dr. Jaydev in his own way because he did not know how great that person was. So he said, as I sat in front of him, he looked at me, and after looking at me, he just looked at me very deeply, and I felt as if he knows me, he knows about me, and everything he knows about me. And then he said that, see, you have got this problem, and you can overcome this problem if you do this. He gave me certain suggestions to overcome my problem. Now I am shocked and I am surprised that how did he come to know that I have this problem? Because nobody else knows it, and nobody can make out that I have this problem. So now the question comes, how did Dr. Jaydev come to know about this man's problem? Now, this is not the only instance. There are several instances. I had shared with you my personal, you know, uh, experience with Dr. Jaydev. Uh, all some of you know that I had a heart issue, and it happened somewhere in June 2012. June 2012, I had a heart attack. And till that time, everybody who used to look at me, he will say, Are, he's such a healthy individual. Every day he's practicing yoga. He's a good teacher. And his lifestyle is so good. Everything, nobody would have believed that this heart attack was possible. But then let me tell you, it happened in June 2012. But doctor had suspected my heart problem somewhere in 1994-95. Can you believe it? How did he know? Because in somewhere in 1994-95, he called me and he said that there is this particular cardiologist, go to him. I have talked to that cardiologist. Go there, get yourself checked, and whatever he say, come and report to me. Bring all your reports to me. So I went to that cardiologist. He might be still there. I don't know. He was in the other area. He was in the other area. I got myself checked, and then he took a cardiogram. He prepared a report, and then he said something very, very surprising, which those people who knew me would never believe. He said this person has got traits of type A personality. That is what he said. And now imagine how doctor could have detected that, how Dr. Jaydev could have understood that. It is something fantastic, something unbelievable. So I went and reported to him, and he told me, take care of yourself. Again, and 2, 3 times he warned me. And maybe as I am talking to you, you also must have guessed that when I speak, I get very carried away. I become quite emotional. I become very intense. I communicate very strongly. All these traits are still there in me. Maybe from this, maybe some indications which we are not able to catch, he was able to detect that, and he was able to, like that, like me, so many people are there who have come in touch with Dr. Jaydev and they have been helped. God knows how many. The number may run in thousands.
I can share in 2 lines.
Yeah.
Before you brought the excise officer, it was in 1990, and one person had come from Kandivali, his blood pressure was high. So we put him in Shavasana, and after half an hour again we checked his blood pressure. It was still higher, and he was sweating profusely. And so some of them had not started. We were only registering. So I started to run up the wooden staircase to Dr. and Hansaji's room. So he was already halfway down the staircase. He came down, he said, there is this gentleman from Kandivali, he's getting a heart attack. Call up Nanavati Hospital, tell them to send the ambulance. Call his wife, his number is there on the card. That time there were no cells. Tell his wife to come directly to Nanavati. And my mouth just fell open. I had not even said anything. So it's something, beyond our perception.
And doctor was not even in the hall where this person was.
No, he was coming down from the bedroom. He was halfway in the staircase, and I was running up like a mad person because I knew that, he was sweating so profusely. I knew something is terribly wrong with him. But before I could open my mouth, he told me what it was. And that man did get a heart attack after reaching Nanavati, and he did get saved, and his wife reached, and everything was okay.
Because he reached on time. So we have to understand that a person who has overcome some of the restrictions imposed by kleshas, karma, vipaka, desires, we limit ourselves. And incidentally, I was reading some of the literature where this has been highlighted. And now you see lots of research is going on. Now modern writers are writing that the most important thing is that the self is the most important thing, more than the body. Your perception is most important. If you perceive things correctly, then miracles can happen. So power of perceiving, power of belief. These are the modern writings which are telling us that if you believe yourself to be limited, you are limited. If you believe there is no limitation, there is no limitation. You can go on acquiring those. Even this book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, or even the book Secret. All these are indicative of that consciousness which we have, or that superior self we have, in which there's tremendous capacity, and these capacities are restricted because of certain factors. If we can work on those factors, then surely the capacities can go on increasing. There are n number of instances where a person was a weakling, person was very sickly, but he started practicing yoga, and then they became very strong, very healthy, and they lived very long, and they did very constructive kind of work. They were able to help so many people. There are n number of such kind of instances. we come across, and these are known facts. These are known cases. So in a way, this other sutra also I wanted to cover today, but then I thought it will become too much. That's why I thought we let us cover only one sutra. So this is what sutra says. If there are questions or if there is anything you feel needs clarification, we can talk about it. Those who are not putting on their video, if you have any questions.
Sir, I wanted a clarification. The fourth limitation is what? After Vipak is Ashay.
Ashay.
Ashay means?
Vasna, desire.
Acha,
Vasna. The another name, Ashi. Ashi is the name. From the word Ashi, the word Ashay has come. So Ashay means Vasnas. When we are talking about karmas, there are two things. Now, you see, what is meant by Ashay? It is how it is connected to the desire. Something which we can have desire for, something which we have craving for. And if we have already experienced some certain things, then we have cravings for them. And that is how raga is also created. Raga is what? Sukhanushayi raga. So raga is that which follows the experience of pleasure. If we have experienced something pleasurable, then immediately we will create a desire for it. We will have attachment towards it. So that is what is desire. Ashay. So all these past experiences, whatever pleasures we have acquired and experienced, we have strong desire for that, vasana for that. And this vasana is a very, very restricting factor. Vasana is so restricting factor. Very jokingly, we often talk about people who drink. So it will be a common observation. If there is a very big party and there are some people who drink alcohol, some people who don't drink alcohol. If you go to such party and you just be a bystander, just watch the dynamics which are taking place in the body, in the party, soon you will find that certain groups are getting formed. And mostly the groups will be of the like-minded or the people having common interests. They will find each other. How they will find automatically because of their desires, they will gravitate towards the people who have got same habits or same kind of cravings, same kind of desires. So this is the behavior pattern you will observe very often. It happens. We always gravitate towards like-minded people. And why that is? Because we have that kind of desires. And a sattvic kind of person will look for sattvic kind of people. A tamasic kind of person will look for tamasic kind of. All this is coming from the desires. Now you see, when you are meeting 10 people, there's a great opportunity to get to know different kind of people, different kind of personalities, and we can acquire deeper knowledge about human personalities. But do we do that? We don't do that. We are happy with the limited area, limited people with whom we feel satisfied, we feel secure, and we want to remain in that comfort zone. We will not venture out because that makes us uncomfortable. So this is how everything gets restricted. It is because of our sanskaras, because of our limitation. So sanskaras are of two kinds. One is the karma sanskara, other is the smriti. That is the vasana sanskara, the feeling tones. So feelings are generated. These vasanas are feelings. So something tasty you have already eaten. The moment you will look at it, immediately there will be a craving for it. So in the class, I often give example of foreigners. So some foreigners have come to India and they are attending a party, and sweet dish like maybe gulab jam, rasgulla are being brought. So these foreigners who have never tasted gulab jam, they have never tasted what is rasgulla. Do you think they will have any kind of craving looking at the gulab jam? They will have no craving at all. because they don't know what it is. Who will have craving? The one who has tasted it earlier. This is what is vasana. The moment you look at the object, there is a craving created, and then that craving is restricting. We want it at any cost. We will do anything to get it. And we forget about all the wisdom, we forget about all the right and wrong, and we just pursue what we desire. And when we pursue what we desire, irrespective of thinking about right and wrong, or it is a very restricting thing. We get very limited. We are not able to think correctly. We are not able to think objectively. So, what is the role of kleshas? Kleshas take away our objectivity, our sense of proportion, our ability to perceive things rightly. They are taken away by kleshas. When we are under the influence of kleshas, we are not able to perceive things correctly, understand things correctly. That is what happens. And yoga is interested in removing these. Yoga wants to empower us by setting us free from these kind of limitations. And if we even move a little bit towards freedom, it's highly empowering. It's great experience to be able to experience that kind of freedom.
So I have one question, and it may be a very mundane question at low level. How do we know our limitations? Because everything we achieve today, we feel we know enough of what it is there and stuff. So how do we know our limitation, or on the other side, how do we know how much more is there on the other side? So knowledge we know in a field of study which has already been studied, but
that is when we open. Then that is when we open up. Normally, we are so close that we think that wherever we are satisfied with it. That is what is status quo. See, everybody wants to maintain status quo. Now, when the opportunity comes, when we are talking about this, so many opportunities might have come, but we thought the thought that, oh, I have a doubt that I'll not be able to do it. If this thought has come, this is a limitation. In business also, in meetings also, anywhere you will experience that. Nature is throwing open the opportunities for us to grow, because that is why nature is there. Our mother also wanted us to grow. So mother created that nourishment, that opportunity for us to grow and become strong. Every single animal species does that. They try to, the offspring is brought up in such a way that it becomes independent and is able to hold on. But then what happens is, at every stage we have self-limiting thoughts related to our own self. So opportunity comes, मुझसे नहीं होगा यार, मैं नहीं कर सकता. अभी छोटी सी बात है कि अगर now suppose if you make it a rule कि after I speak for half an hour, one or two of you will be speaking for 5 minutes. If you make it a rule for every class, you see from next time many people will drop out. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So do you think it is a threat to you? Do you think it is, when I ask somebody to speak for 5 minutes, is it a threat or it is an opportunity to grow?
Opportunity.
So, but do we take these opportunities when life is giving us opportunities?
No.
We are not taking them. We are restricted.
Yes.
We are limiting ourselves. डर लगता है, अरे वो लोग हंसेंगे, मुझे नहीं आएगा, मैं कर पाऊंगा कि नहीं कर पाऊंगा, मेरा बस का बात नहीं है, मैं खुश हूँ जहाँ पे हूँ, मैं खुश हूँ, मेरे पास कम है ना, चलेगा मेरे को. We are happy with what we have.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
It is not only restricted to the material things. We are talking about human capacities.
Yes, sir.
Capacities is not only working for one's own gain of money or power. It is not that. It is also, functioning at a greater level, at a higher level, where we are able to connect with everybody. We are able to, kind of lead. That opportunity, everybody has that capacity. But then we are most of the time we are followers. We are not leaders.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
एक आदमी था विनोद की तरह.
हाँ.
तो एक संत के पास जाता है, बोलता है कि मुझे कैसे मालूम पड़े मेरी शॉर्टकमिंग्स क्या हैं, कितनी हैं. तो वो संत बोलता है, तू अपनी वाइफ को उसकी एक कमी बता दे, वो तेरी तो सारी कमियां बता देगी, तेरे बाप की, तेरे माँ की, तेरे पूरे खानदान की सारी कमी बता देगी. So Vinod, this is another
Yes.
question.
This is another method,
You know, you know what? I'm not married, so I don't have that.
No,
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Ajay is talking about this from his experience. He is married.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And thanks, Ajay. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Here.
Thank you, sir.